So many.
Guys, the memories of those anime. Alright, so without further ado,
Assalamualaikum everyone. In this video, I will share my experience while attending culture event called Festival Asia. Throughout this video, I will explain hofstede culture dimension and trompenaar's culture framework using real-life example from the festival to bring this concept to life. From observing how people interact to understanding the deeper meaning behind the ritual and activities, I will show you how culture shapes everything around us. I also will share the key takeaway from this culture deep dive and highlight some of my favorite moments from the day. The objective of the event is they want to introduce Malaysian to foreign culture such as their belief, traditions and food. They also want to give Malaysians the opportunity to try and increase their knowledge about culture that exists in the world. While at this event, Malaysians from different nations such as Malay, China and India get the opportunity to gather and enjoy a variety of cultural performance, including traditional dances and more. Hofstede can be defined as a framework through which sociologists can describe the effect of culture on the values of each member and how these values relate to the behavior of people who live within a culture. Now I will explain the component in hofstede culture. Firstly, individualism versus collectivism. Individualism can be defined as a people who tend to value personal control, autonomy, and individual accomplishment, while collectivism can be described as a people who value loyalty and mutual obligation within in-group. The example, during the event, I could see various races in Malaysia gather. Some of them communicate despite different races. This reflects the high collectivist value of maintaining peace and harmony within society. We move to short-term orientation versus long-term orientation. In the long-term orientation aspect, it focuses on future planning and remains the value of traditions, while short-term orientation emphasizes more on the past and present result. It also values personal steadiness and stability. For example, in Japanese books, they explain their tradition called Tanabata, which asks them to write a wish on paper called Tanzaku and hang it on bamboo branches. This represents high long-term orientation. Last one is masculinity versus feminism. Masculinity can be described as a trait that is associated with men, such as challenge and success. Then we have feminism, which is emphasizing caring for others and quality of life. In Chinese book, they're asking us to play their game. This action shows the element of achieving a goal, which can be classified as a trait in masculine culture. Feminism can be found when I get a chance to decorate their Chinese friend called Tuanshan and try out their traditional culture called Hanfu. In trompenaar's culture, they believe culture is the result of how people have come together to survive in the world. It is made up of what they value, how they may behave, and the norms that group has established and display when together. I will explain the component in trompenaar's culture. First, we have natural versus emotional. Natural can be defined as a culture in which emotions are not shown, while emotional can be measured through emotions that are expressed openly and naturally. For example, while wandering around in that event, I can see a lot of people are having fun while trying some activities and smile brightly while taking a photo. This is represent high emotional culture. Now we have specific and diffuse. Specific culture can be classified when a large public space is shared with others and small private space is guarded closely. Meanwhile, diffuse culture is a public and private space that are in similar size, where personal and professional life are linked closely. When I went to the event, there was no entrance fee and everyone could do all the activities in the event without any restriction. It's aligned with diffuse culture orientation because there is no barrier between people and the activity. Last one is universalism versus particularism. Universalism tends to focus more on rules than relationship, while particularism focuses more on relationship than on rules. In this event, participants are free to participate in the booth activity at their own pace and within the time frame provided. This is consistent with particularism. However, they must also follow the rules set for each booth when carrying out the activity. This situation is very much related to high universalism. The significance of accepting variety and promoting togetherness through common experience is the main point to be learned from this cultural festival. This kind of gathering demonstrates the power of cultural custom to foster understanding, communities, and harmony. So what is the thing that I get to learn from that event? First, culture engagement. A good culture creates harmonious society. This proves that culture influences the country. Second, expand future growth. I can understand how a culture works in a country. Also, I get to explore their tradition and belief. Lastly, understanding culture. We can gain a better understanding of how people from various cultures manage time, relationship, work, and social behavior. We move to the question. First, how can activities like this maintain cultural concepts like hofstede and trompenaars? This event reinforces ideas like collectivism, where people gather to celebrate custom and foster harmony, which help preserve ideas from hofstede and trompenaars. By taking part in this occasion, individuals actively interact with and preserve their cultural value for the next generation. Second, besides culture engagement, does the event have other benefits? In addition to encouraging culture interaction, the event promotes social integration by bringing together different communities and strengthens the local economy. Additionally, it promotes your participation, which guarantees that cultural heritage will be preserved for upcoming generations. That's all. Thank you for listening to my video. I hope my input reached you and also you get to understand the function of hofstede culture and trompenaars culture.